Look at Evan. He's got a little rhythm. Oh, Evan's gigging. Wow.
It's the San Diego in him.
Wow. We got to get him on camera doing that. Can he do that on camera? Seriously.
Come here.
Evan, come here. I'm not playing.
Get in here.
This is the only show that does something like this. Play the song, bump the beat. Show the people what you're doing out here.
Right here.
Come on, right here. Get in there. Just do the move that you did. This is how we feel in Sacramento. This is how we feel in Sacktown.
Let's go.
Come on, man.
E-Dog. Did you see who gave Mr. Fab sweatshirt the other day?
Who did?
Fillmore Mike.
Did he? Oh, wash it back?
Yeah.
Fillmore. Where's Fillmore at?
Oh, just come on.
Where's Fillmore at?
Talking mad smack to someone somewhere.
He's probably talking smack at the radio right now. Before we get Fab on, let's get 3 in Berkeley. 3 in Berkeley. What's happening? You're on the roast.
What's up, fellas? Top of the morning, man. I'm on my way to work.
Nice.
But I had to chime in real quick, man. For one, I don't ever would believe that Steph Curry would approve of benching Draymond Green because nobody in the history of the league has had more assists to point ratio than Draymond passing it to Steph.
Yep.
So him getting everybody into the offense, getting them to their spots, is things that don't come in a box score too.
I agree.
But you can't bench him. You can't bench him. I understand that people get mad with him. He muck up the game. He gritty. That's what he is. He's the Bay. He's sacking off, but he's the Bay. So my whole thing is that Steve Kerr made great adjustments by bringing in the young guns. True. But you don't go away from Draymond because he gets Steph and Clay off the ball.
Absolutely.
He brings up the ball. He initiates the offense. He sets picks. He dives. He rim runs. He does what he's supposed to. I love Lowe. Love his effort last night. That's dominating. Steve Kerr loves that adjustment. He loves Looney on Sabonis, and he slowed him down. So my whole thing is keep Draymond in the game. Let him do what he do, okay? And everybody else continue with the energy. And that's all it was last night. It was the energy. They got to bring it back in Sac, but we're going to take care of business at home.
No doubt. Good call, 3. Good call, 3. Let's get out to the bat signal here and get out to Mr. Fab. Dope Aerosol out there in Oakland. We love Mr. Fab out here. He joined us on Post Game Live last night with Unk. Unk is hilarious. The Fab and Unk, the Unk and Fab show. Of course, you can see that on NBC Sports Bay Area. Fabby, I'm surprised I was able to get you up this morning. I was surprised, my man. I didn't think you would be up this early after last night.
Hey, man, you'll be amazed what a victory will do to your spirit, baby. Early.
And Fab came at me, folks, and we'll get to the game
Orange
last night.
juice and a blunt for breakfast?
He coming at me yesterday, and he's like, man, Bonte, I've been hearing you shook. And I said, Fab, have you been listening from 6 to 10? Nah, not really. Yeah, you're listening to the wrong show, Fab. So nobody's ever worried about a team led by Stephen Curry and the things that they've done here. But last night was special, man. Winning Game 3 the way they did, winning wire to wire, Loon Dog doing what he's doing, and now we got a series. What do you think about the Game 3 adjustments there by the Golden State Warriors without Draymond Green and Gary Payton II?
You know, one thing without Draymond, what led to the offense was a key point that a friend of mine made. It became unpredictable offense. It's something that you can't train for. When we have Draymond, we know what we're going to get as far as he's going to go out and he's going to have the ball. He's going to be a playmaker, and he's going to do a lot of things, man. A lot of the times, some of the plays from Mike Brown's perspective can be like, okay, I've seen this before. I've watched this before. But him not being out there kind of put them in a disarray of not knowing which way the offense was going to come from and how the offense would move. One thing that we have to make a key component about, man, was like, whoa, the way that they went out and played just with that assertiveness, it was an amazing to watch those guys go out there and say, hey, man, hide the rings. To me, that was key. Hide the rings. What we've done means nothing. It actually it shows our pedigree, but let's hide the rings and let's go out and play because these young guys don't care about the rings. These young guys want to go out and say that they upset and they beat them. And they went out last night, man, and demonstrated what the championship quality DNA pedigree looks like.
Yeah, and watching Kevon Looney just all year long, the last couple of years, but all year long, he's been amazing for this team. He seems like such a calming presence and does all the little things offensively and defensively. But not just him, also DiVincenzo having that kind of game. After the year he put together, where so many Warrior fans fell in love with Dante, it's like, man, what happened to him in the first two games? Both those guys really put their imprint on yesterday's game, didn't you think?
Man, playoff Loon. You know, big Loon, man, with 20 rebounds, man. 20 rebounds and 9 assists.
Wow.
Hey, you know what's so
Fab,
crazy?
real quick, Fab.
He went 420.
Fabby, yeah, he did go 420. Real quick, you brought up Loon with the Goon Loon or Loon the Goon. I love that.
Loon
How about this nickname? This guy Schletrock, he calls us all the time. He brought up Kevon Windex Looney because he always cleans up the glass.
He cleaning the glass, man. Like, and he does it in such a calm manner. He goes out there, he leaves it all on the floor. I think in the first two games, he was more so focused on the calls that he wasn't getting. And, you know, Sabonis was throwing his weight around. And I saw Loon do something that I hadn't saw him do in a long time. I seen him complain to the refs. And yesterday, I didn't see any of that. I seen him making the extra effort. I seen him going out saying, whatever I did before, I'm throwing that out the window, and I'm going out there and I'm going after every rebound. I'm going after every rebound like I'm playing a game of 21 in Milwaukee, and this is the playground at home where it's just you. It's you versus whoever is trying to get that ball. And his effort, hey, man, he smoked them all on 420. 4 points, 20 rebounds. He went for 420 in the Bay.
Yeah, he did. I think it's unanimous amongst Warrior fans that, like, De'Aaron Fox is awesome. Like, there's nobody hating on De'Aaron Fox. Sabonis, however, feels very divisive, very polarizing. What he does during the regular season cannot be disputed, but the playoffs are different. Their strategy against him has been brilliant. They're sagging off of him. What are your just impressions of Sabonis through these 3 games?
The collar that he has instilled in many of us is like, we look at him and we like, yo, we don't like this guy. We don't like this guy because he's trying to play this brute bully role. And one thing that we really don't like is don't throw rocks and hide your hand. I didn't like his post-game interview where he made it seem like, oh, man, we don't need that in this sport. Wait a minute, dog. You the same dude that's throwing elbows, dropping the shoulders, grabbing ankles. You're doing everything, man, and now you want to point the finger at Draymond. So to me, that makes me look at you a different way. If you're going to be the villain, be the villain. Be happy to be a villain. Like the villain Dylan. If you're going to be the villain, be that. But for him to go out and try to make it seem like he's just a good guy, just playing the sport of basketball that he loves, hey, man, you come up on the negative side. That's why there was boos every time he touched the ball last night. But even with that, all, bias to the side, we have to admit that he's a hell of a basketball player. And he goes out and he's walking double-double. And he's hard to defend because he's such a big body and he's savvy around that basket. But Loon and the other guys, Jermichael Green, and whatever looks that we threw at him last night, it was enough to contend them, to keep them from dominating.
Mr. Fab here on the Morning Roast on 95.7 a game, and I agree there. Sabonis had a lot of empty calories in that box score last night, and the ankle lock heard around the world. Nobody in Sacramento wants to talk about that. It's all good. We got a big game 4 on Sunday. So the adjustments, you talk about with Draymond Green, at times it could be predictable on offense. We saw the ball moving around last night. The Kings had to honor everyone on the floor. I don't think it's going to happen, and I'm not suggesting that it should happen. But do you think the Warriors would think about staggering Kevon Looney and Draymond Green? And I don't know what it looks like. Does Looney come off the bench? Does Draymond come off the bench? I have no idea. But I always thought in this series, Fab, that the one big lineup is the way to beat the Sacramento Kings. How do you navigate that situation? What do you think about that? Because the two big lineup, like you said, it's a little constipated. It's a little congested.
One thing about me is the different looks. Right now, it's going to be a coaching standoff. We're going to have a good old Western standoff, man. It's a showdown. And we meet at rendezvous and figure out who's going to do what, Billy the Kid type style. So when you're dealing with Mike Brown, who feels like he already knows that program and he knows that system, he feels that he has infiltrated an infrastructure to where he has intel that can decide which way the game will go. So what great way to do that is devise schemes that he hasn't seen. Create things where you'll be like, whoa, what play is this? Remember the movie, The Giants? What was it? The where they was like the New York
The
Giants?
Little Giants.
Oh, the Little Giants.
Little
Yeah.
Giants.
Little Giants.
Al Bundy was coaching.
Wow. And they came up with that play at the end of the game, and everybody was like, what's going on?
What is it, some annexation of Puerto Rico or something like that?
It was something like that.
And so we have to create those plays. Last night, some of those plays were created. There were some offensive looks that no one has seen.
Right.
There were some transitions and some substitutions that we had never seen. We didn't see the rotation. We didn't see Steph Curry's no more rotation. And it was throwing them off. So now it was like, okay, do we bring in Fox, would the Fox go in when Steph comes out? And those constant changes left the Kings on edge. And Mike Brown, Doug Christie, and the rest of the coaching staff was more so like, wow, they look dumbfounded in a way. I watched Mike Brown's face all night. He was like, man, I ain't seen this look.
Right.
What look is this? and they played great. The beauty about it is when you see those teams, when Steph and Clay's camaraderie is so well noble of noble status, because when Clay's not going, Steph does his best to try to get him involved. And I watched that. I watched Steph pass up on a few good shots that he would normally shoot to get the ball to Clay, just to get him going. And what that does for a player's morale, that lets him know that, man, my dog got me no matter what. I only had 6 points going into the fourth quarter, but we finished strong and strong enough to come in on a game 4. And I see a big game for Clay.
Yeah, I do too. He's due for one, and he always comes through with a signature performance in these playoffs, each series. Like, he's definitely due. I feel like we've just spent all year crushing all the young guys, whether it's Kuminga, Moody, Wiseman, who's no longer here, Jordan Poole, and it just feels so unfair. And like Jordan Poole, not his greatest performance yesterday, but I thought he was really good. Really, 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 really good. And we never want to give him enough credit. He was hustling. He was active on the rebounds. I thought his defense in terms of timing the double team was really good. And he creates space for others. To me, watching all year long, I feel like we're always quick to rip Jordan Poole, and we never want to praise him. What do you think of Jordan Poole?
I think last night, man, he didn't have his best shooting performance. I think he went like 1 for 7 from the 3. But he didn't let that discourage him. He still ended strong with 16 points, 5 rebounds. And he was able to go out there and say, man, even though I may not be hitting the shot like I would like to, I'm getting my players involved. 4 assists.
Only 1 turnover, Fab. 1 turnover.
And I was just going to say that, and 1 turnover. So for him to handle the ball, to orchestrate that offense in the in the absence of Draymond, for him to orchestrate that offense to get the game going early. And I think what happens with a lot of players, the love for Steph and Clay has always dominated their opinion. And because we love Steph and Clay so much, in crunch times where Jordan Poole is going for his, sometimes we would wish that he would defer to give the ball to Steph. But you have to let a young guy go out and go make his bed. And since he's been making that bed, I don't mind where he lays, because some of the times, some of those decisions are good decisions. He's a great shooter. His energy is well. And one thing that you can't coach, you can't teach, you can't buy is that level of confidence.
Yeah.
And his level of confidence is up there amongst the greatest players of all time. So for him to have that level of confidence, to me, that just brings more love and appreciation that should be showered upon him.
Yeah.
And as you say, many people would like to take that away from him and highlight on his mistakes. Unfortunately, that's just the world that we live in today. They rather highlight our mistakes. They want to do your bloopers instead of your highlights.
Oh, so true. So true. We got Mr. Fab here on 95.7 The Game. Obviously, you're friends with 40, and you go to all the games. Me and Bonte have been talking about this for 3 years. Fans are getting out of control. Like, it's one thing to go root your team on, have fun, but there's a line, and I feel like consistently you're seeing fan bases cross the line. What'd you make of the E40 situation the other night?
It's just a classless act. We take nothing away from the true fans in Sacramento. People love E40. They adore E40. Unfortunately, when it's been a 16-year drought, you see some fans that have an extra amount of energy. Alcohol gets involved and excitement gets involved, and people make mistakes, man. We're watching it all around the world, and this is one thing that we have to say, and a key component, as in social media, people are so used to doing things without consequence now. We live in times where you can create something, you can blog about someone, you can write something on someone, you can tweet someone, you can do a post, and you don't have to worry about the instant gratification of consequence. Unfortunately, in reality, when you're doing this trolling, this social media-like trolling in the physical form, you have to understand that there is a response. This man was heckled all game, and the moment that he responds is the time where they ring the cowbell. And it's just an unfortunate situation. It's very distasteful. It's classless, but that doesn't represent the majority of Sacramento Kings fans.
Right.
They have a great excitement in there. It reminds me of Oracle. It reminds me of the days when we were fighting in the We Believe era, and we were just trying to establish who we were as a franchise with the players and fans as well. So it's no disrespect to the Sacramento Kings fans and any other fans around the world. We just have to understand that this is basketball. This is sports. Don't keep some class in your game.
Right. No doubt. I mean, we see Russell Westbrook walking into suites because fans want to pop off, and then they want to talk when he walks out. You see Bob Myers had to deal with the cowbells all in his ear. What if Bob Myers reacts to that? That's not right. You shouldn't be doing that. Treat everybody the same. Just because they're athletes or GMs or whatnot, these fans do get out of pocket sometimes, man. Somebody told me yesterday before we let you off, FAB, off the record, they're like, players should get one game a year where they can tee off on the fan. They can pick the game. Fans won't know, but they get one game. They get a pass to be like, you know what? I'm going to slap the hell out of you for talking crazy because it's not right, man. It is not right. You bring up such a great point, Fabby. It's got to stop at some point, right?
It definitely has to stop because the egos become tumid, man. They become swollen, and it's like you feel like you can just do anything. As a fan, I've always been respectful of the sport. I've always been a person that watches the game. Even last night when Fox came to the scorer's table, I whispered in his ear, I say, hey, man, you're a hell of a guard, man. And win or lose in this series, man, you have my respect. I've always liked him at Kentucky. He's always been a hell of a player. I never let my love for my team blatantly disrespect another team. Or their players. I love the sport again. I love the sport. And I have the temerity and the confidence to understand that it's just a game. At the end of the day, these men are going back home to their families, and we want to get back home to our families and enjoy the game. But don't be a bad sport, man. Don't allow distastefulness to override your fans' sportsmanship. One thing I do want to say that we didn't get a chance to talk about, what about Moody? Moody played a game.
We've been talking about him all day, Fab. Moody's been amazing.
Had 36 last night. The unsung hero and MVP on that basketball court last night was Moody. Moody did a great job. Somebody who hasn't had all of the minutes this year, hasn't, been in the coach's favor, but for him to show up every time he's called upon, hey, Moody, man, Moody for the ring last night, man. That was a great game that he put up, even in those 13 points, but it was the things that he did that didn't appear on the stat sheet that showed up real big in the fans' eyes and to the true sports lovers fans. And that's why the next guy up theory is always key, man. And I think we own up to that.
Hey, Fab, you're obviously an Oakland native. When I think of Oakland, I think of you, and you run a business in Oakland. What were and you're obviously a diehard sports fan. What did you think about the sad news about the A's this week, bailing out on Oakland and apparently heading to Las Vegas?
Man, I've been an A's fan my whole life since Walt Weiss, Bob Welch, Mike Gallego, Mark McGuire, Terry Steinbeck, Corny Lansfield, Dave Stewart, Dave Henderson. I could go on and on, man, about how long that I've had the love for the Oakland A's. And one thing that I understand, man, and it's unfortunate that this has to come into things, but it's business. And the business of sports sucks, especially when you're a fan, because when you can't create what the demands and needs are. The Oakland A's have been asking for a stadium for several years. We have one of the oldest ballparks in the league. There's no new adjustments, no new modifications going on to the stadium. The fans aren't filling in those seats, and it doesn't help when you're losing. Us out there not being able to be able to produce on the field. I think even thus far this season, there's been about 5-6 games where we've lost by double digits. Nobody wants to go see that, man. And when the business fails, as an owner, you looking at the team like, man, listen, I got to put myself in a better position business-wise. No matter how much I love the city, no matter how much I love this franchise, I have to make great decisions for me business to protect my investments. If Vegas is the best place for them investment-wise, may it so be. Hopefully, the judicial, the local governing and people that make decisions for that can realize the need for these sports teams. The thing that I'm disappointed the most about is the job displacement. Look at the jobs that are going to be leaving.
Yeah.
Look at the jobs that a lot of these people, it's thousands of jobs between the Warriors, the A's, and the Raiders. We're talking about thousands of jobs that have been lost, which adds to people that are out of work. And you know, when we're in despair, we also know that the crime rate rises. So when we're looking at things from that moment, it's not just about what it does for a sports person or a sports team or a franchise. We're talking about the economical poverty of what's going to continue to impact our communities, which lead to Oakland being one of the highest crime-ridden cities in the state of California and in the country, which is unfortunate because it's such a beautiful city. And there's so many brilliant minds here and gems that deserve to shine. We just need those opportunities. So I say it now. When I'm mayor, I'm going to bring back some sports teams.
Fab, I appreciate how hard you rep for your town. It means a lot. Me and B, we love our community, and so anyone who shares those commonalities, we're going to ride with. And I appreciate you saying that.
Fab, I've gotten to know you very, very well over the last few years, and I know you just don't rep Oakland. You represent the Bay, and you care about the Bay. But for Oakland, first and foremost, no doubt that's your home. But I love having you on because you know your knowledge comes through. Like you said something about E40 last night that really hit me on the way home. You basically said, everybody says E40's a rapper, but he's not that. He's a mogul. He knows he's a businessman. What he did at Grambling State, fixing their music department and donating money to their music department. Fab, I look at you the same way. I look at you the same exact way. So you keep doing what you do, Fab.
Thank you, man. 40 too short, and a lot of the other pioneers have laid the blueprint, a great blueprint for me to follow, and being an example of that work, man, I just hope that when I'm, at that age and I can be respected as he is respected and continue to stand firm on what he believes in. He's a stand-up guy, and I'm just honored to have him as a big homie, a mentor, a friend of mine, a colleague, and a fellow Warriors fan, man. Big shout out to Herm Lou, man.
Oh,
another guy.
Herm Lou surviving in the ghetto.
The whole Bay Area, man. I love the guys, man. All of my OGs, thank y'all for opening up the door. And Monty, as always, I love you. I'm going to fly out to Vegas to go to this fight tomorrow, and I'll be back Sunday, man. So I love you guys. Thank you so much, man. Always love.
Hey, Fab, and when the Warriors win the next 3 games in this series, we'll have you back on the show to preview the second round matchup with the LA Lakers.
Do you hear me?
Yes, sir. Fab, see you Sunday, brother. Thanks for the time.
See you, buddy.
Peace.
Mr. FAB, Mr. Fab, man. He's more than a rapper, man. He's eloquent. He's tapped in. He reads everything. He studies the game. He studies the politics. Fab is a good dude, man. Really good dude, man. I rock with Mr. Fab.